Hello and welcome to the Sleepy Hub, your cozy corner for a good night's sleep. I'm so happy you're here. You've done enough for today. You've thought enough, tried enough, and given enough. Now this is your time to rest, to breathe, and to let your body unwind. Tonight's story is a delicious one. A sleepy history all about chocolate. That silky, comforting, melt-in-your-mouth magic that has traveled through time to become one of the world's favorite treats. If you enjoy learning and drifting off to stories like this, please consider liking, sharing, or leaving a sleepy kind message below. It helps other sleepy friends find their way here, and together we can keep growing this peaceful place. Now, find a position that feels comfortable. Maybe lying back with your arms by your sides, or curled softly under a blanket. Feel the bed supporting you, the pillow beneath your head. Take a slow, deep breath in and let it go. Let your shoulders sink, your jaw unclench. Feel your body beginning to loosen, like warm chocolate slowly melting. You don't need to do anything. You're safe. You're home. You can rest. With every breath, imagine warmth spreading through you. Soft, cozy, like sipping hot cocoa on a quiet evening. The kind where you can see tiny curls of steam rise from the cup. The scent sweet and rich, wrapping you in comfort. The world outside fades away. Only peace remains. As your breathing slows, your body becomes heavy and relaxed. Your mind grows quiet, floating gently between thought and dream. You're about to drift on a journey through time, through forests and kingdoms, across oceans and kitchens, following the story of a humble being that became a symbol of joy, love, and rest. In the chapters ahead, we'll travel to the jungles of Mesoamerica, where the cacao tree first grew under dappled sunlight. We'll meet ancient hands that harvested the pods, discover rituals where chocolate was offered to the gods, and listen to the soft hum of history as chocolate crossed oceans and centuries to reach the cozy cups and bars we know today. But for now, all you need to do is listen. Let the story carry you. Let your body rest in the sweetness of this moment. You are safe. You are cared for. And the world for now can wait until morning. Chapter 1. The First Beans of Magic. Long before the world knew the word chocolate, deep in the rain-soaked jungles of Central and South America, there stood tall, graceful trees with smooth, thin trunks and wide, shining leaves. These were cacao trees, quiet and humble, growing in the shade of larger trees, hidden under layers of green. If you were to walk through that forest long ago, you might not notice them right away. But if you looked closely, you'd see their fruits. Colourful pods shaped like little lanterns hanging directly from the trunks. Some were golden yellow, others red or deep maroon. And inside each pod lived a secret that would one day bring comfort to hearts all around the world. It's said that the first people to discover cacao were the Olmecs, one of the earliest civilizations of Mesoamerica, thousands of years before the time of kings and conquerors. The air around them would have been thick with humidity, humming with insects, alive with bird calls echoing through the jungle. The Olmecs were gatherers and growers, people who listened closely to the land. One day, perhaps after a storm, someone cracked open a cacao pod. The scent was earthy, strange, and inviting. Inside, the beans were bitter, nothing like the sweetness we think of today. But there was something about them, something alive, a spark of energy, a whisper of warmth. They began to crush and ferment the beans, mix them with water, and soon cacao became part of their daily life. A drink for the wise and strong, a medicine, a gift from nature herself. Imagine the sound of rain tapping on large leaves, the flicker of firelight in a small clay hut. A person sits cross-legged, stirring a wooden bowl filled with this mysterious dark drink. The aroma rises, rich and earthy. There's no sugar, no milk, only the deep, grounding taste of the earth. It warms the belly, sharp at first, then soothing. They don't yet know it, but they are tasting the beginning of a story that will travel through empires, oceans, and centuries. The cacao tree itself seems to hold magic in its roots. Its scientific name, Theobroma cacao, means food of the gods. But that name came much later. For now, it is simply part of the rhythm of life, planted, tended, harvested. The people who worked with it understood balance. Give to the earth, and the earth gives back. When they prepared cacao, it wasn't rushed. It was an offering, a pause in the day, a moment of care. The simple act of making the drink became something sacred. And as night falls in that ancient forest, you can picture the scene. The stars above shimmering through breaks in the canopy, the air smelling of damp earth and flowers, and a gentle fire burning low as someone takes another sip. There's no rush, no noise of modern life. Only the heartbeat of the jungle, the soft rustle of wind, and the comforting warmth of cacao flowing through the body. You can almost feel it now, that warmth spreading through your chest, that earthy sweetness grounding you in the present moment. Just like the Olmecs long ago, you can take this as your own small ritual, to slow down, to listen to the quiet, and to remember that even the most ordinary things, a bean, a cup, a moment, can hold a kind of gentle magic. And so, as you rest here, let the sound of the jungle drift through your imagination. The soft patter of rain, the rustle of leaves, the faraway call of an owl. Feel yourself melting a little more into your bed, like chocolate softening in the warmth of your hand. The first beans of magic have been found. Their story has only just begun. Chapter 2. The Drink of the Gods. As the centuries passed, the story of cacao flowed gently through time, carried by rivers and people who knew its power. After the Olmecs came the Maya, a civilization of stargazers, builders, and poets, who saw the world as alive with spirit. To them, cacao was not just a drink, it was a bridge between the human and the divine. They believed it was a gift from the gods themselves, a sacred offering that brought strength, peace, and connection. In the glow of a torchlit temple, you can imagine a Maya priest carefully pouring liquid cacao from one vessel to another, holding the stream high so the air would froth the drink into a soft, velvety foam. The sound of drums hums low in the distance. The air smells of spices, perhaps chili, vanilla, or honey. blended into the dark mixture. The people gathered around watched with reverence. To share cacao was to share a prayer. They called it zocolatl, which means bitter water, and though it wasn't sweet, it carried life in every sip. It awakened the mind and soothed the body. The Maya believed that cacao opened the heart, that it helped people feel more deeply, love more openly, and speak truth more clearly. It was used in weddings, in sacred ceremonies, and even in daily life as a gentle blessing. To drink cacao was to connect with the earth, with spirit, with one another. Imagine holding that warm clay cup in your hands. It's heavy and solid, carved with symbols of jaguars and suns. Steam rises from it, carrying a scent that is both mysterious and comforting. You take a small sip, and it's rich, earthy, slightly bitter, with the faintest whisper of flowers. It's not a flavor to devour, but to experience slowly, with presence. The warmth moves through your chest and belly, and you feel grounded, calm, alive. In the Aztec world that followed, cacao's power grew even stronger. Their emperor, Montezuma, was said to drink it from golden goblets, sometimes dozens in a single day. He believed it gave him energy, clarity, even love. To the Aztecs, cacao was wealth itself. They used the beans as money to trade for food, clothing, and goods. Imagine holding something so small, so simple, yet worth so much. Each bean represented life, labor, and respect for the land that gave it. When cacao was offered to the gods, it wasn't done lightly. It was mixed with flowers, sometimes with blood or honey, symbols of life itself. To the people, cacao wasn't just food, it was gratitude made visible, a reminder that sweetness and bitterness often live side by side and that both are sacred. As you rest here listening, you can feel that balance too. The warm and the cool, the light and the dark, the inhale and the exhale. Life itself moving like a soft wave through you. The Maya and Aztecs believed that balance was the heart of all things, and cacao was their teacher. So as you sink deeper into rest, imagine yourself by a quiet fire, under a night sky filled with stars. Someone places a cup in your hands, warm, fragrant, ancient. You take a sip, and with it, you feel a connection to everyone who's ever found comfort in a small, sweet moment. The gods gave cacao to humanity, they said, so we might remember how to love and how to rest. And tonight, that gift is yours too. Chapter 3. A Taste Crosses the Sea. As the story of cacao continued, a great wave of change began to move quietly across the world. It was the 1500s, an age of sails and salt air, when explorers set out on long, uncertain journeys across the sea. Among them were the Spanish, who arrived in the lands of the Maya and the Aztecs, lands filled with gold, spice, and stories the rest of the world had never known. But hidden among the treasures they carried back home was something small and brown, and almost unnoticeable: cacao beans. Nobody could have guessed how much sweetness those little seeds would one day bring. Picture one of those old wooden ships rocking gently on the ocean. The air is cool and damp, the sails creak softly in the wind. Below deck, in the darkness, crates of cacao rest beside spices and silver, strange scents mingling together. The sailors don't yet know that these beans will soon change Europe's kitchens, royal courts, and cozy homes forever. When cacao finally reached Spain, it came as a mystery. The drink was bitter and dark, unlike anything the Europeans had tasted. But there was something about it, something comforting and rich that lingered. Slowly, people began to experiment, blending it with sugar from the Caribbean, vanilla, cinnamon, and milk. And just like that, a new chapter of chocolate began, one that would spread like a whisper through every corner of the continent. Imagine a quiet Spanish courtyard, sunlight filtering through stone arches. A woman in a soft dress pours a cup of this new chocolate drink for her guests. The steam curls into the air, the smell warm and sweet. They sip carefully, savoring it, surprised by the way it soothes the heart. It's both exotic and familiar, rich yet calming. The room fills with gentle laughter, the sound of spoons stirring in porcelain cups. The first Europeans to taste chocolate must have felt as if they were holding a piece of magic, something the world had never known before. Soon, chocolate began to travel further, to France, to Italy, to England. Each country made it its own. The French added delicate flavor, the Italians added style, the English added warmth and ritual. In grand palaces, nobles would gather to sip chocolate from golden cups, served with biscuits and conversation. It became a sign of elegance, a way to show care and comfort to guests. But even in simpler homes, chocolate began to take root, becoming not just a luxury, but a quiet pleasure. And as it spread, chocolate began to change. Sugar softened its bitterness. Milk gave it a creamy touch. What had once been a sacred offering now became a daily joy, a way to begin a morning, to end a long day, or to share a moment of peace with someone you love. As you lie here tonight, you might imagine the gentle sound of waves brushing against the side of that ship, carrying cacao across the world, the moonlight on the water, the stars above, the same stars that watched over the jungles of the Maya. It's all connected. The trees, the travelers, the dreamers, the hands that prepared it, and now you, resting here, part of the story. Every cup of cocoa, every bite of chocolate carries a piece of that long journey. It's more than sweetness. It's history, comfort, and connection wrapped together. A reminder that sometimes the smallest things can travel the farthest, and the simplest pleasures can hold the deepest warmth. And so, as the waves settle and the stars grow bright, the story of chocolate continues its voyage. From the heart of the jungle to the heart of every home, one quiet sip at a time. Chapter 4: The Sweet Revolution. By the time chocolate reached the grand cities of Europe, it had already begun to transform. What started as a sacred drink had become something softer, sweeter, and more human. The people of the 17th and 18th centuries were falling in love, not just with the taste, but with the feeling of it. They called it drinking chocolate, and in those early days, it was still something to be whisked and warmed, a smooth, velvety potion for the heart. But soon, the world of chocolate would shift again, from temple offering to royal treat, to something that belonged to everyone. Imagine a bustling European kitchen somewhere in the 1700s. Copper pots gleam beside the hearth. The air is warm, filled with the scent of sugar melting, milk simmering, and cacao gently toasting over the fire. The cook moves slowly, rhythmically, stirring the thick mixture in a pot while steam curls upward like a dream. It's the birth of what we know today as hot chocolate. And though life outside those kitchen walls may be cold, inside it feels like love. Before this time, sugar itself had been rare and precious. But as sugarcane plantations spread, sugar became easier to find, and everything changed. The bitterness of cacao met the sweetness of sugar, and together They created balance, a harmony of opposites. For the first time, chocolate was not only for the noble and the wealthy, it began to trickle into small shops, bakeries, and homes. People lined up to taste this sweet miracle, whispering about it like a secret. Coffee houses began serving cups of chocolate to poets, travelers, and philosophers. These were the gathering places of ideas. Warm, dimly lit rooms where people talked for hours about love and art and dreams. You can almost hear the clinking of cups, the low hum of conversation, and the sigh of someone taking their first sip of something so new, so comforting, so full of promise. Soon, the art of making chocolate became a craft all its own. Families passed recipes down through generations, each one slightly different, each one filled with care. Some added spices like cinnamon or nutmeg. Others added cream or a touch of honey. Each small adjustment became part of chocolate's evolution, a new note in its song. By the 1800s, inventors and dreamers were hard at work turning this luxurious drink into something even more magical. A solid bar you could hold in your hand. Machines were built to grind and blend the beans into smooth perfection. The first chocolate factories appeared, humming softly with the sound of creation. For the first time, chocolate could be shared easily, packed, sold, gifted, and given. It was no longer just for kings or queens, it belonged to everyone. And so, the sweet revolution began. Chocolate became a symbol of love, friendship, and celebration. It was there in small candies given on birthdays, in hot mugs passed to someone on a rainy day, in the quiet joy of breaking off a square and letting it melt slowly on the tongue. It was comfort, affection, and gratitude made edible. As you rest here now, you can imagine that same warmth, the sweetness spreading through your heart like melted sugar. The air around you feels soft and golden. You can almost smell the cocoa, hear the bubbling of the pot, feel the love that has always been part of chocolate's story. It's a story of transformation, of something bitter becoming sweet, of something rare becoming shared, of something sacred becoming simple and human. It reminds us that even the smallest act of care, a cup of cocoa offered to a friend, a chocolate shared in silence, can ripple through time, bringing warmth where it's needed most. The sweet revolution wasn't just about taste, it was about kindness, connection, and the joy of giving. And tonight, as you drift deeper into rest, you can feel that same gentle revolution inside you. A sweetness rising in your heart, reminding you that warmth, love, and comfort are never far away. Chapter 5. The Art of Making Chocolate. By the time the 19th century arrived, chocolate had already woven itself into daily life. But now, a quiet revolution was stirring again. The world was changing fast. Factories were rising, steam engines were running, and people were inventing machines that could turn dreams into things you could hold. And among those dreamers were a handful of people who believed that chocolate could be made smoother, richer, and more beautiful than ever before. Imagine walking through a small chocolate workshop in the 1800s. The air is warm and filled with the smell of roasted cacao, deep and nutty, with a hint of sweetness. You hear the low hum of grinding stones turning the beans into a thick, fragrant paste. Everything feels alive with possibility. Workers move carefully, pouring and stirring, their hands dusted with cocoa powder that shimmers softly in the light. This is where the art of modern chocolate truly begins. For centuries, chocolate had been a drink, but now, thanks to a few brilliant minds, it was becoming something new, something you could hold, break, share, and savor. In 1828, a Dutch chemist named Coenraad van Houten invented a press that could separate the cocoa butter from the cocoa solids. It changed everything. The result was a fine powder, smoother, lighter, easier to mix, and it made chocolate more affordable and accessible to everyone. This was the birth of what we now call cocoa powder. A few decades later, in Switzerland, two names would join the story: Daniel Peter and Henry Nestlé. Daniel dreamed of making a softer, gentler kind of chocolate, one that melted on the tongue instead of sitting heavy and bitter. When he combined cocoa with Nestlé's powdered milk, the first milk chocolate was born. Creamy, comforting, and sweet. Imagine that first taste. Lighter, smoother, like silk dissolving into warmth. It was an instant success. Then came another genius, Rodolphe Lindt, who wanted chocolate to be even smoother. In 1879, he created the conching machine, a rolling mixing invention that polished the texture until it became velvety and rich. His discovery gave chocolate its signature melt. That feeling of it softening perfectly at body temperature, as if it were made just for the warmth of human hands. Across the ocean in Pennsylvania, a man named Milton Hershey was dreaming even bigger. He believed everyone, not just the wealthy, deserved to enjoy chocolate. His factory became one of the first to mass-produce milk chocolate in America, bringing sweetness to homes across the country. He even built a town for his workers, filled with houses, schools, and gardens, a place called Hershey, Pennsylvania. It was more than a business. It was a belief that happiness could be shared. And in England, the Cadbury family took chocolate to another level, creating heart-shaped boxes filled with treats, gifts of love wrapped in ribbon. They believed chocolate should bring comfort and joy to families, not just profit. Theirs was a legacy of kindness, of sweetness meant to be shared freely. Through all these inventions and inspirations, chocolate transformed from a luxury into a language of care. The hum of the machines, the smell of melting cocoa, the rhythm of pouring and molding, it was all part of a song that played across the world. Factories may have replaced small kitchens, but the heart of chocolate stayed the same: warmth, generosity, and delight. As you rest now, imagine the quiet glow of one of those old chocolate factories at night. The windows flicker with candlelight. Outside, snow might be falling, soft and silent. Inside, the air is thick with a scent of cocoa and milk, swirling together like a lullaby. The people inside aren't just making candy, they're creating joy, one bar at a time. And you can feel that joy too, that soft sweetness that connects every hand that's ever stirred a pot of cocoa, every person who's ever smiled while tasting it. Chocolate's journey through the centuries isn't just a story of invention. It's a story of love, curiosity, and care. A reminder that creation itself can be an act of kindness. So take a slow breath, let your body melt into stillness, and imagine that velvety richness flowing through you. You are part of the same story, a world of dreamers, makers, and lovers of sweetness. The art of making chocolate is, and has always been, The Art of Making Happiness. Chapter 6. Chocolate in Times of War and Peace. As chocolate spread across the world, it didn't just live in factories or fancy shops anymore. It found its way into the hands and hearts of ordinary people. By the early 1900s, chocolate had become a comfort, a friend, a small light in both celebration and struggle. It was there in moments of joy, and it was there in times of war. Imagine the early 20th century, the world holding its breath as the Great War began. Soldiers marched through mud and snow, far from home, their hearts heavy but determined. Among the supplies tucked into their packs, small tins, letters, photographs, was something simple yet powerful: chocolate. It was easy to carry, it lasted through long journeys, and when the world felt cold and uncertain, one bite could remind someone of love, home, and warmth. In World War I, companies like Cadbury, Fry's, and Hershey began sending chocolate to the front lines. It wasn't just food, it was comfort in edible form. Soldiers described it as a taste of peace, a reminder that sweetness still existed, even when the world had forgotten how to be gentle. Imagine a young soldier sitting beneath a pale sky, unwrapping a small piece of chocolate with cold hands. For a moment, everything slows. The noise fades. The taste melts slowly on his tongue. And for that brief moment, he's back home. Safe, loved, remembered. During World War II, chocolate became even more important. It was included in soldiers' rations, sometimes dark and bitter, made to withstand heat, but still carrying that same quiet promise that better days were coming. Hershey alone produced over 1 billion chocolate bars for the troops. They called them Ration D bars, specially designed to give energy and comfort. Even though they weren't sweet like the ones back home, the soldiers treasured them. They were reminders of care, of the hands that made them, the families that waited, the life that waited. And when the wars ended, chocolate became a symbol of peace. In Germany after the war, American soldiers handed out chocolate to children, a small act that bridged hearts where walls had stood. The sweetness became a language everyone could understand, a universal way to say, "You're safe now." The world can be kind again. In those post-war years, chocolate shops reopened, new recipes appeared. Families gathered once more around tables, passing cups of cocoa and small pieces of joy. It was as if the world itself needed to taste sweetness again, to remember that even after chaos, comfort can return. Chocolate began to appear everywhere, in holidays, in love letters, in quiet moments shared between friends. It became a way to celebrate, to apologize, to say thank you, or simply, "I'm thinking of you." It held emotion the way few things could, tangible, warm, and human. As you lie here, let yourself feel the deep peace that comes after a long storm, the way the world softens after rain, the way your body relaxes when you know it's safe to rest. That same peace lives in chocolate's story, the reminder that sweetness can survive even in the hardest of times. Imagine the sound of a wrapper being gently opened in a quiet room, the faint crack as the chocolate breaks, the smell of cocoa rising in the air, rich, grounding, soft. Somewhere, someone smiles. Somewhere, someone exhales. It's such a small thing, yet it carries the weight of hope. And now, as you breathe deeply, let that sweetness fill your chest. Let it remind you that the world has been through much, yet always finds a way to heal. Chocolate, like love, always returns. It endures. It comforts. It connects. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, remember, the same sweetness that carried people through darkness also lives in you. You are made of that same warmth, capable of comfort, peace, and the gentle power to make the world a little kinder. Chapter 7. Cocoa around the world. By now, chocolate had become a part of nearly every heart and every home, but to truly understand it, to feel its soul, we have to return once more to the beginning, to the trees, the farmers, and the earth itself. Because before it melts in your mouth, before it's wrapped in gold or shared between friends, chocolate begins as a seed, delicate, humble, and full of life. Close your eyes and imagine standing beneath a canopy of green somewhere near the equator. The air is warm, almost silky. Birds call from the trees, their songs layered with the hum of insects and the whisper of leaves. Here, in the deep soil of Ghana, Ecuador, Indonesia, and many other lands, grow the cacao trees, small and strong, their roots gripping the earth. The pods still hang from their trunks like lanterns, glowing shades of orange, red, and gold. Each one holds the story of patience and care. Farmers walk carefully between the trees, often barefoot, the earth cool and soft beneath their feet. They know each plant by heart, its rhythm, its fruit, its needs. With practiced hands, they use a small knife to cut a ripe pod from the tree. Inside, the beans glisten white, covered in a sweet pulp that smells faintly of fruit and flowers. There's laughter in the air, children helping, families working side by side. This is how chocolate truly begins, in hands that love the land. The beans are gathered, placed in baskets lined with banana leaves, and left to ferment. It's a slow, natural process, the earth doing her quiet work. The air grows warm, the scent turns rich and deep. Then the beans are spread out in the sun to dry, darkening in color, growing lighter in weight. Imagine the sight of wide wooden trays filled with cacao beans, basking under a golden sky. The farmers rake them gently with wooden sticks, turning them so each side warms evenly. It's a peaceful rhythm, a dance between sunlight and shadow. From here, the beans begin their journey across the world once again, to factories in Switzerland, France, Colombia, the United States, and beyond. Each place adds its own touch, its own dream. Swiss chocolate becomes known for its creamy texture, Belgian chocolate for its silky truffles, Colombian and Ecuadorian chocolate for their rich, earthy depth. Every country creates its own version of sweetness, and yet, at their heart, they're all the same story told in different voices. Behind every bar of chocolate, there are countless unseen moments. A farmer wiping sweat from their brow, a child running barefoot through the rows of trees, a family gathering around a fire to share a simple meal after a day's work. These moments are woven into the taste, the love, the patience, the connection to the land. It's humbling to realize how far a single bean travels, from rainforest to roastery, from hand to hand, from soil to soul. Every piece of chocolate carries a world inside it, the warmth of the tropics, the dedication of the growers, the creativity of the makers, and now, your quiet appreciation as you listen to its story. As you rest, take a breath and imagine the scent of rain on soil, the rustle of cacao leaves overhead, the feeling of belonging to something vast and kind. Just as the tree gives fruit, and the farmer gives care, and the world gives sweetness, so too can you give comfort in your own way. Chocolate's journey around the world reminds us that connection is everywhere, in trade, in art, in nature, and in kindness. From one heart to another, sweetness travels. And as you drift deeper into peace, you can feel that same current moving through you, giving, receiving, sharing warmth, one soft breath at a time. Chapter 8: The Science of Comfort. Chocolate doesn't just taste good, it feels good. There's something about it that reaches beyond flavor, something that soothes the heart and quiets the mind. But have you ever wondered why? Why a single square of chocolate can make the world feel softer? Or why a warm mug of cocoa feels like a hug from the inside out? It's not only history and memory, it's chemistry and connection, working together like magic. When you take a bite of chocolate, it begins to melt almost instantly. That's because cocoa butter, the silky fat within the bean, melts just below body temperature. It's perfectly tuned to the warmth of your tongue, creating that familiar velvety feeling that makes chocolate so irresistible. It's almost like it was made for us, designed by nature to melt at the temperature of love. But there's more happening than melting. Inside every piece of chocolate are tiny molecules that speak directly to your brain. Compounds like serotonin, dopamine, and endorphins, all the chemicals of joy and calm, begin to flow. These are the same messengers that tell your body, you're safe, you're happy, you can relax now. Chocolate also contains a whisper of something called theobromine, a gentle stimulant that lifts your mood without rushing your heart. It's the same word we saw earlier in its scientific name, Theobroma cacao, the food of the gods. And maybe that's what it is, a food that reminds us what joy feels like, what warmth feels like, what connection feels like. Then there's phenylethylamine, sometimes called the love molecule. It's released naturally in your brain when you fall in love, when you laugh, when you see something beautiful. Chocolate has a touch of it too. That's why, even in the simplest moment, it can make you feel cared for, held, a little bit in love with life itself. Scientists have studied all this for years, but deep down, we already knew it. We knew it every time a piece of chocolate made a long day feel easier. Every time it made a memory sweeter. Every time it helped someone say, I care. Chocolate doesn't just comfort because of what it contains. It comforts because of what it represents. Kindness, thoughtfulness, pause, and presence. Think of how many moments in your life have included chocolate. Quiet mornings, celebrations, heartbreaks, or simple nights at home. It's there when words aren't enough. It's there when warmth is needed. Even now, as you rest, you can feel that same effect. Your breath slows. Your body softens. Your heart opens. Imagine your favorite kind of chocolate. Maybe dark and rich, or milk and creamy, or smooth with caramel. Picture holding it in your hand. The slight snap as it breaks, the aroma rising like a whisper of comfort. You take a small bite, let it melt, and feel that calm expand through you. There's science in it, yes, but there's soul too. Chocolate reminds us that comfort doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it's as simple as giving yourself permission to enjoy something beautiful, to taste, to breathe, to rest. As you lie here, imagine that each breath you take is like unwrapping a piece of calm, slowly, gently, without hurry. The sweetness is already inside you, waiting to be felt. Let it melt through you like warmth spreading from your heart to your toes. In every way, chemical, emotional, and spiritual, chocolate teaches us the same lesson. Joy is meant to be shared, comfort is meant to be received, and sweetness is never wasted. So tonight, as you drift deeper into stillness, remember that your body, like chocolate, was made to melt into warmth and love. You are designed for comfort, for peace, and for pleasure. And it's okay, more than okay, to let yourself feel good. Chapter 9, The Ritual of Enjoyment. There's a reason chocolate feels so special. It's not just what it tastes like, but how we experience it. When we slow down, when we let each bite, each sip, each scent unfold fully, something magical happens. It becomes more than food. It becomes a ritual, a tiny ceremony of joy. Imagine yourself sitting somewhere cozy and quiet. Maybe a blanket around your shoulders, a soft light flickering nearby. The air smells warm, sweet, maybe with a hint of vanilla or cinnamon. In front of you sits a cup of hot cocoa, steam curling into the air like slow-moving ribbons. You take a moment to simply breathe it in, to feel the warmth on your face. This is the beginning of the ritual: awareness, stillness, gratitude. In ancient times, cacao was prepared with deep intention. Every step, from cracking the pods to grinding the beans, was done with reverence. Each movement was slow, thoughtful, present. That's what made it sacred. And even now, we can bring that same sacredness into our own lives, no matter how simple the act. Pick up the cup or the piece of chocolate. Notice how it feels in your hand. Smooth, solid, a little cool. The weight of it grounds you in this moment. You take a small bite or sip, and everything slows. The world narrows to one simple experience. The texture, the flavor, the warmth spreading through your chest. Maybe it's creamy milk chocolate that reminds you of childhood, of snow days, laughter, and comfort. Maybe it's dark chocolate, rich and deep, like quiet reflection. Or perhaps white chocolate, light and soft, like a cloud. Whatever it is, notice how it makes you feel. Every flavor has its own personality, its own music. Chocolate invites us to pause, to listen, to notice the gentle joy of being. It asks nothing of us except presence, to taste, to feel, to breathe. It's a meditation in disguise, a sweet reminder that life's smallest pleasures can be doorways to peace. There's no rush in this ritual. You can take as long as you want. You can let the sweetness dissolve slowly, or take a sip of warm milk between bites, letting the comfort linger. You can close your eyes and imagine the journey, the trees, the sunlight, the hands that made it all possible. Gratitude becomes part of the flavor. Some people light candles before their evening tea. Some take deep breaths before bed, and some, without realizing it, practice a sacred ritual every time they unwrap a small piece of chocolate, peeling back the foil like opening a tiny gift, hearing that soft crinkle that says, "Slow down." You can make this ritual your own. Maybe it's one square of chocolate before bed, as a symbol of sweetness at the end of your day. Maybe it's sipping cocoa on rainy mornings while watching the world wake up. However it looks, it's about more than taste. It's about intention. Let yourself enjoy without guilt. Let the sweetness be simple and kind. There's no need to earn it, no need to rush it. Joy isn't something you have to deserve. It's something you already carry, and chocolate, in its gentle way, helps you remember that. As you breathe deeply now, imagine warmth filling your heart, spreading through you like liquid light. This is the taste of peace, the feeling of being cared for, the quiet truth that life is made of moments just like this. Soft, warm, real. The ritual of enjoyment is the ritual of being alive. And tonight, as you sink deeper into rest, that sweetness remains, a reminder that pleasure, gratitude, and peace can live together in one small, perfect moment. Chapter 10. The Sweet Connection. As our story nears its end, the sweetness of chocolate feels a little deeper now, not just on the tongue, but in the heart. It has carried us from ancient forests to candlelit kitchens, from temples to factories, from one pair of caring hands to another. Through it all, chocolate has been more than a food. It has been a connection, a thread of warmth that weaves quietly through humanity, reminding us that joy, love, and kindness are universal languages. Think for a moment about how far that little bean travels, from the humid jungles of Central America to bustling cities in Europe, to the quiet corners of homes everywhere. Across oceans and centuries, it finds its way to the same simple place, between the palms of someone who just needs a moment of comfort. It's shared between strangers and lovers, between children and grandparents, between friends who sit together in laughter or silence. Chocolate doesn't care who you are or where you come from. It just gives sweetness freely. You might picture a small cafe in Paris, a market in Ghana, a kitchen in Tokyo, or a living room in Atlanta. Everywhere you look, someone is enjoying chocolate. A mother stirring cocoa for her child, a baker sprinkling chocolate chips over warm dough, a traveler unwrapping a small bar on a train, watching the world pass by. All of them connected through one flavor, one feeling. It's amazing how something so small can bring so many hearts together. How something that began as a seed of the earth could become a symbol of love. We give chocolate to say thank you, to say I love you, to say I'm sorry, to say you matter. It's the sweetness we offer when words feel too small. And every time we share it, we remind each other that there's still goodness in the world, that joy can be found in the simplest of things. Even now, as you rest, you are part of that connection. The same warmth that once filled sacred temples and royal halls now fills your chest as you breathe. The same sweetness that comforted soldiers and lovers now soothes you. The same rhythm that has guided the cacao tree's growth for thousands of years, rain, sun, rest, renewal, is the rhythm of your own heartbeat. Chocolate is, in a way, a reflection of life itself, a blend of dark and light, of bitter and sweet, of effort and ease. It teaches us that contrast is what makes life beautiful. That even in our hardest days, there can still be warmth, softness, and joy. Take a deep breath and imagine that sweetness spreading through you now, soft, warm, golden. You are part of the same great circle of giving and receiving. Just as chocolate passes from hand to hand, love passes from heart to heart, endlessly. And as the story settles, you can rest in the simple knowing that the world is more connected than it seems. That across every border, every language, every life, there are small acts of kindness, a cup shared, a smile offered, a gift of sweetness given just because. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, let yourself be wrapped in that connection. Feel the warmth of every kind hand that has ever made or shared something with love. Let gratitude melt through you like chocolate. Slow, deep, comforting. You are part of this sweetness. You are part of this story. You always have been. Our final time together, a sweet goodnight. And now, dear friend, our story of chocolate comes to a close. You've traveled through jungles and temples, through ships and cities, through warmth and wonder. You've met the people who planted the first trees, the hands that tended the earth, and the dreamers who turned a bitter bean into something sweet enough to make the world smile. And through it all, you've carried the same feeling that chocolate has always offered: comfort, kindness, and peace. Take a slow, deep breath in and let it go. Feel the weight of your body sink deeper into the bed, every muscle loosening, every thought growing quieter. The day has done its work. You've learned, you've felt, you've traveled far enough. Now, it's time to rest. Imagine yourself holding a warm cup of cocoa. The mug fits perfectly in your hands. The scent rises, rich, familiar, soothing. You take a small sip, and it feels like warmth spreading from your chest to every corner of your being. You can feel your breath slowing to match the rhythm of peace. You can feel your heart relaxing, steady and calm. Let the sweetness of this story linger. The gentle reminder that life, like chocolate, is meant to be savored. That even in the darkest moments, sweetness can still be found. That love, like cocoa, can warm even the coldest night. Picture yourself in a cozy little room, candlelight flickering softly, the world outside hushed and still. The air smells faintly of sugar and earth. Somewhere nearby, a soft rain begins to fall, tapping on the window like a lullaby. You are safe here. You are loved here. You are allowed to let go. Let your mind drift now as the story becomes dream. Maybe you wander again through the rainforest where the cacao trees grow, their leaves whispering goodnight. Maybe you find yourself in a quiet kitchen, watching chocolate melt slowly in a pot, the steam curling upward like a sigh. Or maybe you simply float in the softness of this moment, your breath, your heartbeat, your peace. The world can wait until morning. For now, there is only stillness, warmth, and the simple joy of rest. As you drift deeper, remember that sweetness is not something you have to seek. It's already inside you. In your kindness, in your presence, in the way you breathe and rest and simply exist. You are the sweetness. You are the calm. You are the story continuing on. Good night, dear one. May your dreams be gentle, your sleep deep, and your heart light. The story of chocolate and of you will always be one of warmth, connection, and love.